Hello there, it's Fiona for Weekly Sewing Bee. So, okay, today what I'm making is a graduated star Christmas tree. These are cookie cutters and I'm basically going to draw around, sew them together and make a Christmas tree out of these graduated stars. I've chosen not to use just green felt because I like the colour of Christmas. Because I like to get in quite a few green stuff, then actually a little bit of colour helps. I'm also going to decorate the edges with these little, well, they're called buttons, but they're little shapes that are painted. So I know, but yeah, I know, who knows. Now, simple enough. I do have wadding as well, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut out wadding when I cut the first layer out, but from then on there'll be a layer of felt, a layer of wadding and another layer of felt, and I will use the felt going upwards. I'll graduate it upwards, so the little one will have felt in, but I'll have to trim it myself, and the big one will have the next size up wadding in. Okay, that's not making any sense at all, but you know, it's easy enough. I've got a packet of felt here, so rather than just taking them off the top, what I'll do is I'll sort of mix and match them, so you know, that's cool. And I am going to use the black and I am going to use the white, so there we go. Is that right? Ah, there we go. So that's right now. Alrighty. Now, if I can unhook this, I can bring it over. I'm trying to find the end. Oh no, it's all going tragic. Yes, I could have cut a piece off to start with rather than going for the off the roll look. I always buy my wadding for my quilts in 3-metre rows, so I end up quite a lot. Okay, now this top one, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to stick it on at an angle, so, and I am making sure that I trim off the markings that I go round as well. So from this one, and then I might skip a few and then go for the next colour. Okay, that's me. I'll get cutting and I'll come back with something to show. Hi, oh, yep, you are there. Because it flashes, you see, when it's recording. So sometimes I look at it and it's not flashing. Okay, so we've done all our cutting out with our wadding in between. And we need to make the last one, the biggest one. But we don't need the wadding for this one because we're graduating the wadding. So it's not visible from the outside. So we've got 2 sheets of felt. We've come to the point when we've gone bigger than this. So I'm going to place it in the middle and I'm going to draw around just as I did before, but because this isn't going to be this side, I'm going to freehand a larger one. So I've got my lines there, they are a bit etched and I know I'm using a dirty piece of paper. It is basically why waste it, so very carefully not to perforate the paper, and then I'm just drawing around this last star to make a bigger one. So all I have to do is cut this one out. Yes, I'm perforating this paper, and I'm all done with my cutting out, bar making a little triangle for my littlest triangle. So now that I've done that second line, I can either pin it or I can hold it firmly, and I can just go round and make this last star. Yes, I have an aversion to wasting paper, so especially as I'm only going to need it for 5 minutes, I do try not to waste it. So that's the second use for that bit of paper, and yeah, that's fine. So that's my last star. Okay, it's not as brilliant as my other stars, but what I'm going to do now is, I've got my biggest star. I'm going to take the wadding out of my next star and put it in. So that's done. Any pen marks I've got on there, I'll make sure that they're round that way, so that's fine. I've got my next biggest star, and I'm going to take the wadding out of the one below it and place it in. Okay. So yeah, you can see where I'm going with this, can't you? And I'm going to put that round that way so that the two yellows are touching for no reason other than whatever reason. I'm going to take a little square of wadding, and I know you could probably get away with not having any wadding in your smallest one, or maybe even just doing it twice. So yeah, that's me. I will get back to those ones, but let's start sewing. Now, you're never going to pick the right colour for this because you're using all the colours. So I'm going to go with pale blue because that is the colour to use if you can't choose. And then it's very simple. Turn. I like to keep my points mitered. I've got a long stitch on this just because I don't need a small stitch. And it will just give that much more even feel. So, needle down every time, foot up. Now I've got quite a bit of sewing to do, so I won't bore you with that. And literally I'm going to do all 7 stars, and then if it doesn't look tall enough, I can always do some more because I know how to do that now. I just take the model and I go a 1/4 inch larger each time. Okay, I'll be back. Oh, maybe not. Hi, okay, so I'm just doing the last star and away I go. That's literally 3 stitches on every spike. So, you know, might drive you a bit mad, but it'll look good to do. Okay, so that's me finished. Finish it off as well. Lovely. So I miscalculated and I don't really know how I did it. Probably because I was talking and I wasn't concentrated, but I have actually managed to get the top 3 ones as just green and white, which is not ideal, but you know, who knows. You can't plan these things, can you? So what I'm doing is I'm going to put them at graduated angles. I have my big one here with one, I made a start, 1 tree on, and get them in the right order. There we are. I'm turning them at angles, so there we have our Christmas tree. Now I must admit I was expecting it to be bigger, higher. So what I have decided to do now was space them out either with balls of felt, or I have here quite a few buttons that are all the same size, and I can literally stitch a button in between the 2 to form a spacer. So yes, it is, in hindsight, I now know this. I suppose I could have used thicker wadding. I must admit I did use the thinnest wadding that I had. But, you know, it is all part of the artistic process. So now I'm going to push through the button and the star. There we go. And I'm going to make that secure. So it's a bit tricky because I can't see what I'm doing, but that's fine. And now I'm going to come through so that I'm on the right side. And there's another button. And then of course there's another star. Now this one I have to go through one button, one star, one button, the other button, or I can do them at an angle. And as I don't need to worry too much about security on this one, I can, because each one would get more, I'm only going to do one stitch and then another button. And the more I do it, the more they line up. So that one's on quite loosely, but these other two are now completely lined up just from the previous stitches. So there we go. I know it's not ideal, but I'm a big believer in rescuing, and I'm also a big believer in not lying to you. If I make a mistake, then there is a chance that you're likely to make the same mistake, maybe, or you're likely to make the same mistake one day. All I've done is I've left my button, I've left my needle standing up, so that's fine. That's fine. So, whereas before that I put this button in, I was going to leave my last star standing up, but because I'm now using the buttons, I'm just going to accept that and I'm going to place a button on top. Now you can, if you want, do that pin trick with a couple of pins and then sew on the other two, but you know, it might be easier. So all I need to do now is I need to go to my needle and I need to pull it through. So that's fine. Make sure everything's lined up. Not too worried about the felt not lining up. I'm just worried about getting my needle all the way back down, and it should do quite easily. You know, there should be a natural lining up thing. Okay, so I've got this to do, and then I have got my sewing the buttons on the side. So, and I suppose if it's hanging as well, you don't even need to pull it tight, you just need to secure it. But I don't know, you know, it was either the buttons or little balls of felt, so we've gone for buttons. Maybe I'll do another one with balls or more padding. Well, there we go. Pull that through, and then this one will just slide in really easily, so I can just do that. Okay, so I'll be back in a minute with the finished product. Let's see it so far. I think it looks really good. It's like a bow. All right. Hello, welcome back. So I'm all done. My little Christmas tree decoration ornament. Very easy to do, and yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Okay, thank you ever so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee.